Hey everybody, welcome to TnSportsChat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. I'm Patrick Matsinko with Emmett, McCall. The John to my Paul. I'm happy to have you back. But it's been a hard day's night.
Very good.
But we're here. We're really in the thick of it with the spring sports season. But something that has just kind of, we were expecting it. Maybe it's a little bit later this year than it has been in past years, but the girls all-state basketball team was announced on Tuesday.
Right, and we had 3 local players make the team. Our player of the year, Skylynn Faust of Lehighton, made the 4A team. We had Emily Zoscin of Weatherly, made the Class 1A team. And then we have a very familiar name who made the 4A team as well, Kayley Kovac of Jim Thorpe.
Second team selection, 4th straight all-state honor, second for Emily Zoscin, first for Skylynn Faust.
It says a lot about Kayley Kovac. First of all, she only played 9 games this year, dressed for senior night, played a minute or 2 for her 10th game, but basically played 9 games, and her reputation, obviously, and what she did in those first 9 games, but that got her a second team All-State mention.
And you look
really
at
nice.
and you look at where she was when she was injured. She was leading the area in scoring,
Kayley, 26 points a game.
Yeah,
so, and a Division I recruit,
absolutely.
Which obviously helps with an all-state team like that too. So that was really nice. And like you said, that was her 4th straight time. Emily Zoscin from Weatherly, 2nd time. She led them into the state playoffs for the first time in 26
District
years,
title.
28 years, yes. So well-deserved honor. And then Skylynn Faust of Lehighton, our Player of Times News Player of the Year, had a great year, averaged 23 points a game. Led Lehighton to their most successful season in
a long time. Yeah, since the mid-90s. And for head coach Joe Breswick in his first season with Lehighton, obviously he was at Tamaqua for a very long time, came into it this year. And the one thing that I took away from talking to him for a while last night was just how much he appreciated, Skylynn just as a player, but as a person, and just how much she, I think, really helped ease his transition into the program and the role she took on as a leader, getting the other girls around her ready to go. And just, I think how much that dynamic really kind of helped Joe Breswick just sort of get back into, like you said, to get back into the game, which was huge for them. Like you said, they had a lot of team success. And, again, thinking about Emily and just what she's meant for that program. And again, another player who's just kind of continued to progress and improve, and she's only a junior.
Right, and reading your story that appeared in Wednesday's Times News about the All-State team, the one common thread all 3 coaches kind of were saying about their players is team-oriented, leaders, rest of the players gravitate towards them, hardest workers on the team, and, no coincidence that all 3 of them were honored like they were.
Yeah, and it's a nice way for all 3, and like you said, especially with Kayley, that her season ended prematurely, but to see it end on a positive note for all 3 and to have them recognized like that was a very special thing. And I guess the boys will be announced.
We're assuming tonight, 6 o'clock tonight. So if that's the case and we have any boys, we can talk about that next week.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. But most recently, this week, we've had a lot going on. Got the district boys Class 2A and Class 3A singles tournaments started off on Monday at Lehigh University. We had a total of 8 area players in both brackets. We had 6 in the 2A bracket. We had 2 in the 3A bracket. And we had several kids make it to the second round.
Yeah, tennis, the first sport to wrap up its regular season and get postseason underway. Baseball, softball, track, we're only a couple of weeks away.
And we had nice weather on Monday.
And it was nice weather on Monday. And we had some good showings. Tennis, the way they do it, they play first and second round on the opening day, then quarterfinals and semis the next day, and then eventually the final. So you have to win 2 matches to advance to the next day. We had no one do that, but we did have 2 Pleasant Valley players and 2 Palmerton players both won their opening matches and got into the to the second round and came really close to advancing into the quarterfinals. The 2 Pleasant Valley players especially.
Yeah, and you think about a kid like Jake Ammermann, who was our Player of the Year last year. You know, in the first round, he has to go to a tiebreaker to win his match, and then in the second round, he plays a 3-set match against the seeded player from Bangor. Comes up short, but I feel like in a lot of ways too, that's really not doing it justice just for how well he played and how tough both of those matches are for him, that he was able to push it to the limit there in that second round match. And Josh Schaffner, who's
Pleasant Valley's #1 player this year, only a sophomore. And had another player who won his opening round match and then went 3 sets in the second match, and
against the
came
number
really
6
close.
seed from Liberty.
Gave him all he could handle. Reading Coach Marc Allison's comments after the match, he's got some really high hopes for Josh. He's got 2 years left. Pleasant Valley team in general has a good showing.
And to think about Palmerton, they had 3 players qualify, Nate Andreas, Marc Roselli, kids that have been there before, but they had Mattis Willuhn, German exchange student.
You pronounced that well. Good German accent.
But if I didn't pronounce it correctly, I apologize. But yeah, it was so neat to see all 3 kids there. Marc actually ended up kind of with the way the brackets sort of shook out, he ended up having to play Chris Ott of Pottsville in an opening round match.
Like a qualifier.
Yeah, it's kind of like a play-in almost, because Ott got moved down from 3A to 2A, so kind of jumbled up the brackets. But Marc won that match 6-2, 6-2. Came back, played Robbie Schaff of Moravian Academy, seeded player. Lost that match, but Nate and Mattis both advanced to the second round, which was great for the program.
Showing, they eventually got eliminated by seeded players, but both of them had really good regular seasons, and they both put on a really good showing at districts as well.
Yeah, and the other players that qualified, Jim Thorpe had 2, Emilio Mercado and John Fedora, and Lehighton's Maura Phelan also was in the tournament and played well.
Maura obviously is a female, played #1 spot on the boys tennis team this year for Lehighton and qualified for the district, so that says a lot about her talent and her ability, playing against guys all year, and had a real respectable record doing that.
And she pushed Michael Swope of Palisades in that match. I mean, she was up 2-1 in the second set. There were several close points, so kudos though to all those kids for qualifying and playing well in the district tournament.
Coming up, we'll have a district doubles tournament next week and district team tournament the week after. Or I think vice versa, team tournament maybe next week, doubles tournament in 2 weeks. So there'll be more tennis coming up.
We also have baseball and softball that have kind of finally started to move into the second half of the season. And we have some teams playing really well on both sides. And to think about it, on the softball front, we have a Palmerton team that's won 4 straight games and picked up the 4th in a row on Tuesday with a 5-2 non-league win over Pleasant Valley.
And that was a nice win for Palmerton, who's playing really well now. And I think one of the keys is we're getting some warmer weather, so teams are actually getting a chance to get out and practice a little. And you see some teams that have got off to slow starts have really turned it on now. And Palmerton was one of them. They were 4-4 to start the season, and now they've got that 4-game winning streak. They've had a lot of players contribute to that start.
And I know I talked to Coach Bob Hawk even yesterday, and he had mentioned about just that the lineup, the lineup, the pitchers can be different game to game, but the components can change, but it can still be successful. And you've seen that, just thinking about pitching with Lexi Merkel or Paige Shupp. They've both been interchangeable, but they've both been equally dominant.
Games. Yeah, both have won 3 games. They've both been a part of the winning streak. Shupp is the team's leading hitter. She's hitting over 450 on the season, has 12 RBIs, which is the team leader, 10 runs, which is the team leader. So she's done it pitching and hitting for them. But there have been other stars. Bailey Gatis is hitting over 448 right now. Kayla Altamose is 440. Madison Wenig is batting 438. So, Brianna Driscoll, right? I mean, 10 RBIs. Yeah. So that's a solid batting order, solid lineup.
You saw it yesterday with Wenig and Shupp. Game tied 1-1, bottom of the 4th inning, 2 outs, and you get back-to-back triples that make that a 3-1 game and ultimately spark Palmerton to a victory against Pleasant Valley.
A nice nice victory over 6-18.
Yeah.
A non-league opponent.
PowerPoints, everything. Yeah.
District rating, right.
And I had a chance to catch up with Paige and Madison to talk about their hits and Palmerton's victory and recent run of success.
The team really worked together today. We made big plays when we really needed them, and the hits came right along. And it was just a really good game.
What are your thoughts when you're up like that in a spot where it's 2 outs, it's a close game? What are your thoughts, to be able to kind of come through like that?
Just to really put your bat on the ball and make it through for your team. This is a really big game for us.
And you're coming off of big games last week too. Against Northern Lehigh and Salisbury. How much momentum do you feel like you have, after those games, and then coming through, in a tight game like this today? How much momentum do you feel like you have?
Those 2 games were some really big wins for us, and we really needed to take those games too. And I feel like the drive through all 3 of these games is really powerful, and I hope we just keep going with that.
I think we came together a lot. We weren't doing so well in the beginning of the season, but I think we're really pushing through.
That was Madison and Paige talking about the victory over Pleasant Valley, and just the Blue Bombers are firing on all cylinders and looking really good in the Colonial League and the district standings here as we move forward. But another team that's playing really well is the Marian softball team.
Marian's leading Division III of the Schuylkill League right now. I believe they're undefeated in Division III of the Schuylkill League. About a week and a half ago, had a nice victory over Panther Valley, a shutout victory. They were both undefeated in the league at that time. And Lindsay Reinhold, Marion's pitcher, has been really important contributor both at the plate and on the mound for them. She had a 2-hit shutout in the win over Panther Valley. Marion got a nice non-league win earlier this week over Notre Dame of Greenpond, who's always a pretty good team in the Colonial League. She pitched, I think it was a 5-hitter. Marion won 5-1, so she's been a key. Reese Irby has been one of the leading hitters. Macy Alansky, Mia Nemeth, they've all contributed with the bat, so they've helped Marion get off to a good start.
Yeah, and a team that, again, is just kind of finding its rhythm, finding its groove, and that Schuylkill League softball is always tough. We see it every year with teams coming out of Division I, Division II. It's
the small school teams in the Schuylkill League who, Division II and Division III, they play the crossover games, but that Division II with Williams Valley, Tri-Valley, Minersville, I think they've had state champs for the last 5 years or something like that coming out of that division. So you see a lot of good competition there.
And good luck. There is no break. Like we talked about during basketball season, there really is no let up a lot of times. When it comes to the schedule there. But jumping over to baseball, just kind of thinking about a Northern Lehigh team that suffered a loss 8-3 to Palmerton last Friday, but really bounced back with a nice 5-2 win over Northwestern in a Sunday game. Gio Colon pitched 7 really strong innings, and then they came back on Monday and Mercy ruled Moravian Academy 15-0. Luke Eitner, 4-inning no-hitter. Now, this is a team that maybe this can kind of be a turning point.
Right. They struggled a little earlier in the year. They got beat some of their earlier Colonial League games, but a win like that over Northwestern, who's one of the powers in the Colonial League, has to do a lot for the teams. We talked
about a few weeks ago, and
that was that game was you mentioned on Sunday, but that was at PNC Park in Music, where the Rail Riders play. They got to use the minor league field, and could give them a little incentive to the team, and then to follow it up. Then if you win that game, upset Northwestern, but fall on your face, it doesn't do you any good. But they came down, probably played their best game of the season against Moravian, 15-0, no hitter
from Eitner. And there was no letdown there. There was no hangover from the Northwestern game. That's a team that like I said, maybe that can be kind of a turning point as we get into the second half here of the Colonial League season, and they see some of these teams again.
And get some practice time. We talked about softball, get out in the field. Now we're supposed to have good weather all next week. So, that could do nothing but help.
Hopefully. But Northern Lehigh, again, like I said, playing well, and so is Pleasant Valley. Won 4 of its last 5 games. Suffered a 12-5 loss to Stroudsburg on April 21st.
Speaking of minor league parks, that game was played at Coca-Cola Park,
which is
on Saturday, right? So another local team that gets to play at a big league ballpark. So that's pretty cool. But before that loss, they played really well.
Yeah, and they had some really nice but close wins over Northampton, 7-6, East Stroudsburg South 3-2, which was in 8 innings. And even before the game against Stroudsburg, they beat Deerhoff 9-1, and then they bounced back after Stroudsburg and beat East Stroudsburg North 14-4. So, and they've been doing it with a number of guys contributing. Danny McAvoy hitting 345.
He's played really well in this stretch where they're winning. You know, looking at the games we have in the paper, he seems to be getting multiple hits and runs scored every game.
And then they also have other guys that are hitting over 300. Trevor Knappenberger, Brent Beck, Nick Cattuso, and then they have Trevor Knappenberger, who is 1.31 ERA, and then you also have Nick Sizak, who has 1.05 ERA. So these are guys that, again, like you said, Danny McAvoy's hot right now, and I think a lot of times too, like these guys, maybe there's a trickle down effect with how some of these other guys are playing.
Right, and they play in the really tough competitive Eastern Pennsylvania Conference where no nights off, no days off down there. So off to playing well and off to a really good start. Yeah.
So I mean, you look at the Bears, and like you said, it's a brutal EPC, but certainly a team that seems to be kind of finding its rhythm and finding its groove. And now we kind of think about track, which I mean, it's been maybe, I don't know, not easier on track athletes, but they've been maybe less affected by some of the weather.
Right, we have some all-weather tracks in our areas, so you can get out and run.
Sure.
Following rain and snow events like we've had, but at the same time, sprinters, throwers, everybody likes the warmer weather. You'll see that the time's getting better, distances getting better as the weather heats up.
And you look at just on Tuesday, Jim Thorpe's Jarrin Geisinger. He was flying.
And it wasn't really warm on Tuesday. Despite it was nicer than it has been, but it still wasn't totally warm. But he had quite the set a Jim Thorpe school record in the 100 meter.
11.20, which just topped PJ Johnson's 11.21, which was the previous mark. He was also the Lehigh Valley Health Network Player of the Game, which is a nice honor for Jarrin, who was a state medalist last year. So I mean, a kid that's very talented.
And he finished 7th in the state in Class AA last year, and just looking that up today, he ran an 11.17, I think his time was, to finish 7th at state.
And the weather wasn't great at Shupp last year.
But he's almost there now with this 11.20, and he's got another 3-4 weeks to work on getting that time even better. So he could be topping his state medalist time from a year ago.
Which is obviously what he's shooting for and trying to get back down to that time. And the Olympians also are looking good, and team-wise, Schuylkill League, boys and girls.
Yeah, boys play the team plays Blue Mountain in their next meet, and if Thorpe wins that, I believe they clinch the Division I title. They're undefeated in Division I now. Jim Thorpe girls only have one Division I loss, so they're in the thick of the race in Division I as well.
Which is great for Frank Miller, that staff. Those guys work really hard,
that's a great job.
Yeah, so, but thinking too about Lehighton, Isabella Baca tied the school record 9.6 in the pole vault. Nicole Smith had also cleared 9.6 in 2003. So
Lehighton's second school record within a week.
Yeah. We had Megas obviously, break Gwen Romali's mark. This is it's nice to see these kind of things. And again, like you mentioned about maybe warmer weather, we're kind of getting into a little bit deeper into the season. So
get a chance to get those times and times down and distances up.
So obviously everything will just kind of be heating up as we move forward here.
Tina Capparell, a state medalist from a year ago, had a nice showing on Saturday at the Shippensburg Invitational, double first place, 800 and 1600 runs. So she's obviously had a good showing at the Tamaqua Invitational a couple of weeks ago. So she's already in mid-season or even late season form.
Yeah, and that she'll be looking like Jarrin, and like we said about a lot of these kids to keep improving and to peak once we hit leagues, districts, and hopefully states. So, but that's still a little bit a ways away, and for now we're just going to kind of keep hopefully plugging away and not be too affected by the weather, and hopefully kind of get back out there. Unfortunately, I don't think we will today though. But
today looks like a washout.
Yeah. Great weather for sports chat, though.
Yeah, yeah. We got a roof over our head, so we're good. No rain ponchos or anything like that.
We have no leaks.
Tomorrow's Times News, just a plug. We will have our spring sports notebook in. Rich Strack did a nice story on the Acolytus sisters.
Emily and Anna Acolytus, the pitcher combination
for Northwestern.
Yeah.
Also got some good notes on walk-off victories and teams clinching district berths and things like that. So check it out in Thursday's Times News.
Yeah, so that's all for this week.
Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, it was fun to be back.
Thanks. Yeah, it's good to have you. The band's back together.
Yeah.
But we're not a band on the run. So, but for Emmett McCall, I'm Patrick Matsinko. Thank you again for tuning in to TN Sports Chat, presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.